Okay, guys, we are live. So let's begin. So hey everyone, and welcome back to Geeks for Geeks, and welcome back to part two of our cricket prediction project. So in the first video, in the part one, we started building the project, and in some minutes, there were some technical issues. So right now we are going to continue that video, continue that session. So please watch from part one. Okay. So till now what we have done is, let me just show you. And today also I'm gonna repeat the same thing. Ki I won't be running things here because this would actually cause a lot of load on my computer, and eventually it might crash like the last video. So sorry for that. Okay, but yeah, I'll be showing you what I have added. Okay, so in part one, what we basically did is we downloaded a data set of ODIs, okay, ODI cricket format, and then we simply wrote our feature extraction.py. This file simply just converts our normal YAML file to readable JSON format so that we can read it. Then after that we are dropping unnecessary columns. Okay, then we are just keeping male people here. Okay, we are dropping women, and then we drop the whole gender column because since all of them are male, then why do we need an extra gender column? It's only male, right? Then after that we are only keeping 50 overs column. It's like if by chance, by accident, there is some data of 20 overs or 25 overs, we are not keeping that. We are only keeping those data with 50 overs. Like the overall match maximum can go up to 50 overs. Okay, the match ended in 20 overs, we'll keep that data, but the maximum match can be there is 50 overs. Suppose by chance in ODIs, by accident, a data of T20 is available, so we are removing that T20 data. What I mean is, right? So yeah, we simply kept 50 over data here, and then I'm just saying, after that, since we know the data is for 50 overs only, then we know that we don't need the match type, and all. We also don't need the overs calculation because we know we only have 50 overs, and 50 over means ODI. Okay, so we drop these two extra columns. Okay, then after that we are saving our progress to data set level 1 pkl. Okay, fine. Till now everything is fine. I'm going to share you the source code once we end this session. Okay, now what we are going to do is, this is feature extraction 2. You are writing feature extraction 2, right? So here what we have done, we are simply saying we are keeping the first innings, and from first innings we are extracting these things. Okay, so here you can see that we are actually creating a table out of the first innings. You can see from the first innings, like we can train the data for both, but right now we are keeping the first innings only, and from the first innings we are keeping the team. Okay, so I'm saying right now whose matches, who's the team, who's the batting team, and how many balls, and then batsman, who's the batsman, who's the bowler, how many runs, player dismissed, city, venue, etc. Okay, and then we are just saving it to our table. Okay, we are saving it to our table. So our table now actually looks something like this. Okay, I'm not printing it, but to print it you can simply write this command, print delivery underscore df. Okay, so it would print it. Okay, so to run this you can directly run the code from here, or you can type the command python and the file name. Okay, both will run the code. Okay, so it's very simple, it's not a big task, right? So after this what we need is, we are simply saying, okay, so we have printed this. Okay, this is what we got. Okay, now for this I'm gonna say that I know that whoever is in the ball, to get the bowling, to get the person who is bowling, okay, to get the bowling team, if India is batting and the match is between India and Pakistan, so obviously Pakistan is bowling, right? So for that I have a function. So actually what happens is we have teams, right? So I'm gonna say that suppose in batting we have Australia, so obviously in bowling we have Pakistan, right? Similarly, I'm just gonna write a function to get my bowling team. Okay, so I'm just saying I'm gonna provide one row, and then from teams column, okay, I'm just saying just give opposite of the batting team. Okay, whoever is the batting team, just give opposite of it. So suppose Australia's batting team, so I'll get Pakistan. Okay, this is what the function does. Okay, so what I'm gonna say is call this function inside what? Inside this. So I'm just gonna get the bowling team from applying this function to one axis. Okay, and then I'm dropping the whole team's column because I have the batting team, now I have the bowling team. There is no any third team, right? In a single match, only two teams play. So when we have a batting team and then we have a bowling team, so we don't need this extra teams column every time. Okay, so we're just gonna drop this column. Okay, so this is what we have done. Okay, so after this, we are also keeping only main teams. Okay, so I'm just specifying my main teams. Okay, there are other teams also like Zimbabwe and other teams also. We generally don't play. Okay, so I'm keeping only the main teams. Okay, we generally play cricket so that my data is more precise and more like I would say more useful, right? So I'm just gonna say that if batting team contains if batting teams contains this team, okay, then it's fine. Similarly, if or else bowling team contains, then this is fine. Okay, so I'm just saying remove any extra team. Okay, so I'm just removing extra teams like Zimbabwe or other teams apart from this. Okay, I'm only keeping these teams. If these teams are available in my tables row, either batting or bowling, then keep that row, else remove it. Okay, this is what I mean here. Okay, so once I do this, again I can print this. Okay, again I can print this, and this is gonna print this type of table. Okay, now now I have match ID, batting team, number of balls, batsman, bowler, runs, player dismissed, city, and venue and bowling team. Okay, so bowling team is the new column which we got. Okay, so yeah, this was the benefit. Previously, it was something like this. We didn't have the bowling team. Now we have the bowling team also. Okay, and we have removed the unnecessary teams. So it would actually shorten our data set, more precise and more filtered data set. Okay, now after this, I'm just gonna say that my final column, my final table is gonna have these columns: match ID, batting team, bowling team, ball, runs, player dismiss, city, and venue. Okay, so if there are extra columns, it would be removed. Okay, now after this, I'm just gonna dump it to my dataset level2.pkl. Okay, so this would be dataset level 2. So again, I'm gonna run the code, and finally my progress would be till here. Whatever filtering I have done, it would be saved in dataset pkl2. Okay, fine. So let me just keep it here. Okay, so I've saved my progress in dataset level pkl. I'm not running it because since it's a live session, so I would be facing a lot of difficulties and the video might crash. Okay, so live session might end because of too much load. But yeah, definitely if you have any doubts, you can mention the live chat. All right. So now guys, let's continue. So I've saved my progress in dataset pkl2. I've filtered my data and my data now looks like this. All right. So now we're gonna continue with the remaining part. So I'm gonna say that I have saved my data, and now I'm gonna say that you can see that this is venue. Okay, this is venue. Okay. So I'm just saying that here in the venue, the first whatever the word is generally represents the city. Okay, generally represents the city or the main area. Okay, so what I'm gonna assume is this in some cases right now you can see city table is here, city column is here, right? But in some cases city is any. So from where you're gonna get the city any? From the city value, from the venue. Okay, from the venue I'm gonna extract the first word. Okay, this would give me city. Okay, so I'm gonna say that just in the city part. Okay, in the city part I'm gonna say whenever city is null, extract the first word and pass it to city. That's what I'm saying. If suppose this was null, okay, if suppose this was null, okay, this was empty, okay, then what I'm gonna say is this from this venue column, that is this, I'm gonna find the first word, that is this, Brisbane, and copy it and add it to here. That's what I mean. That's what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm just replacing whenever city is done, I'm just replacing it so that any values are removed from my table. Okay, very important. Okay, so at the end, it would do the same thing. Finally, you're gonna get some output like this only. If anywhere it was null, it would be filled with the first word. Okay, if not null, it won't be doing anything. Okay, nothing will be done. It won't be replacing to anything. Okay, so now we have the city, we have this kind of table. Final table looks like this, and then I'm gonna say that I'm gonna group according to x and y. Okay, runs x and y. So I'm just gonna say that group my runs. Okay, group my runs according to the like group my table according to the runs. Okay, so it's like I'm gonna sum things. Okay, I'm gonna sum it. Okay, I'm gonna sum it, and I'm gonna find total runs in each match. Okay, for example, this two match, this is a single match, right? Total runs in this match is suppose what, one, right? You're gonna sum all of it and you're gonna save it. Okay, so similarly for 50 overs, whatever is the total sum, I'm gonna store it. Okay, I'm gonna store it and I'm gonna merge it to my table. Okay, I'm gonna merge it to my table. So at the end my table would again look like what? Again it would look like this. So now we have runs x. Okay, x would contain the normal runs per ball, and runs y would be the final runs of this inning. Okay, of this inning. So 268 would be the final run. So 268 would be same for all, because 268 is the final run. Okay, so that's what I have done here. So now I have the total runs of the match. Okay, so it would be really useful to predict things, because according to the situation, how many runs were scored at the end. Okay, so this is very useful. Now I'm doing one thing, because sometimes my runs x are not numeric, so I'm converting my runs x to numeric. Okay, so that there is no error. Then I'm gonna also get current score. So it's like in this case, current score is 0. Again, current score is 0. Again, current score is 0. Again, current score is 0. Then current score would become 1. Suppose after this, we have a next column. Okay, we have a next column. So now the current score would become 2, right? 2. Final score is 268. Thus, run score at this ball is 1, but current score would be 2. Okay, so we are creating a column which would contain the incremental sum of runs x. Okay, and I'm just gonna save it to my current score. Okay, so that's what I would do. And also similarly, I'm gonna talk about over also. So I'm just saying I'm gonna get the over. How we are gonna get the over? So you can see this 0, the first part represents over, and the second part represents number of ball. Okay, so this first part is basically the over. So that's what I'm saying, extract the first part and save it to over. Okay, then what I'm doing is I am similarly finding the ball number. Okay, ball number. So ball number would be 1 2 3. That is, I'm saying get the remaining part and save it to ball number. Okay, easy. Now I'm gonna say how many balls I have bowled. Okay, so I'm just simply summing the number of overs plus current ball number. Okay, plus ball number. Okay, so it would just give me what? It would just give me the total number of balls. Okay, so in this case you would see total number of balls are, total number of balls are 6. Okay, we have 6 balls. Okay, we have bowled 6 times. Okay, so the total bowled are 6. Okay, so it would just, this formula just give me 6. Okay, total number of balls. In this case, total number of balls bowled would be 5. Okay, so according to this formula, we can find total number of balls bowled. Okay, so after this, we are also going to find the current run rate. So for the current run rate, you just need to divide current score by balls bowled. Okay, that's it. Okay, so it's pretty easy. We found the current run rate also. Okay, so at the end, you are gonna get something like this. Okay, you're gonna get something like this. The table looks something like this. So match ID, batting team, bowling team, ball, runs, player dismissed, and then current score. Okay, current over, ball number. Okay, ball number like this, balls bowled. Okay, and this. Okay, so ball number and balls bowled are actually same, so we didn't need this, but let it be. Okay, we can remove it later. Okay, right? So I think it's fine, right? So now I'm gonna find the player dismissed. Okay, so for the player dismissed, I'm just gonna say that player dismissed, just find player dismissed. It's showing 0 here, but in the further part of the table, this is, I'm just displaying 5 rows, but in further part of table, whoever is out, there is written 1 or like that. Okay, so you would find the value whenever someone is out, that the table has it. Okay, it's not missing, the table has it. So I'm just finding it, I'm just finding the number of player dismissed. Okay, player dismissed, I'm just finding it. Okay, I'm just finding it. Then I'm just saying that if if it's null. Okay, if it's null, just make it 0. Okay, if it's null, make it 0. Okay, and then I'm gonna get cumulative self. So suppose in this case one player was dismissed. In this case one player was dismissed, so totally 2 players are out. 2 players are out, so I'm just getting cumulative sum. Okay, player, okay, of players. So I'm just saying that cumulative sum would be stored inside player dismissed. Okay, and from that I can actually create a column of wickets left. Okay, so whatever it is, suppose the cumulative sum is 2, so wickets left would be 8, right? 8. So 10 minus 2 would be 8. So it would contain 8. And similarly, it would be decremental. Okay, wickets left would be decremental, right? Now after this, we are just gonna finally keep a table like this. Okay, so this would be a final table. Okay, and again, I am gonna show you how it actually looks. So it actually looks like this. Okay, so here you can see Australia, Pakistan, and then wickets left, current run rate, and so on. Okay, so yes, now after this, what do we need? You can see that in this case we got the new column, that is wicket left. Okay, now what do we need is I am just gonna say that first of all, shape the table, reshape the table. Okay, and then I'm just gonna get balls left. Okay, so balls left would be total would be 600 balls. Okay, minus this. Okay, so this would give me balls left, how many balls are left. Okay, and I'm just gonna say that suppose if there are some white balls or some extra balls, so in that case you would say -1, -2, or -3, something like that. Okay, in that case you can just make it 0. Okay, make that 0. If suppose some extra balls are bold, just make it 0. Okay, like for example, -10 balls are left. What does that mean? -10 balls were wide or dead balls or white balls or no balls, right? So -10 balls would directly become 0 because we don't worry about that, we don't care about that. Okay, so yeah, we'll just make it 0. We'll just get the real number of balls left. Okay, that's it. Now after this, again current run rate would be again calculated, balls bold. Okay, so current run rate. All right, and yes, after this, finally, after this finally we have this. Okay, so we have this type of table, match id, and then we are just shuffling, by the way. Okay, we are just shuffling, by the way, so it's kind of shuffled. It's kind of shuffled now. Okay, due to this. Okay, so now we have the bowling team, current run, current score, balls bowled, wickets left, current run rate, city, runs by, and balls left. So you can see that we have actually filtered out a lot of things in our table, and it looks like this. Okay, so it's kind of shuffled also now. Okay, now I am gonna drop this balls bold. Okay, because we don't need this, we have balls left. Okay, then we have match id. Okay, then we are just gonna group it by match id, and then I'm gonna keep unique ones. Okay, I'm gonna keep unique ones. Okay, so now after this we are going to calculate last 5 runs, last 5 overruns. Okay, how many scores are there in last 5 overs. Okay, how many score is done in last 5 overs. So for that we have written a simple for loop, and it would simply group things, group match. Okay, group by match id, and then I'm just saying from this get a rolling window. So for example, right now this is the ball, so I want to get total score of last 30 balls. So I'm just gonna sum up rows of last 30 balls and get the sum. Similarly, next ball, I'm gonna get the total score of last 30 columns and store the sum. Okay, that's how I would actually get my last 5. Okay, so finally I'm gonna store it in my table. Okay, so I'm gonna get score at each row. I'm storing the score of last 5 overs. At each row I'm storing score of last 5 rows. Okay, that's it. So finally again I'm gonna get score of last 5 rows. Okay, so you can see last 5 overs I'm getting the score. Okay, I'm getting the score like this. Okay, so that's it. That's it. All right. And don't worry about this calculation because this data is shuffled. So don't be confused about last 5. Okay, you are getting shuffled data. That's why. Okay, but yeah, it's working perfectly. The calculation was perfect. Okay, so now after this, we are just dropping all the NA values. If there is any value in any row, just drop that whole row. Okay, then after that, I am just saying that only keep those cities if their total counts is greater than 600. Okay, so if you have played frequently on that city, then only that match is important, as that match is not important. Okay, suppose I live in uh, suppose I lived in Kolkata. Okay, and in Kolkata only 10 matches are played in last 100 years. So I don't worry about Kolkata, right? But suppose I live in Delhi, and in Delhi around 800 matches have been played in this whole data set, or you can say last 100 years. So Delhi is really important, right? That's what I mean. So I'm just saying drop all the unnecessary cities, unnecessary rows where matches are played very less. Okay, so that's what I've done. Okay, and this would give me eligible city. So I'm just saying keep the eligible cities. Okay, so this would simply give me a list of eligible cities. Okay, Delhi is eligible city, Bhopal is an eligible city, and things like that. Okay, where matches are played frequently, that is more than 600 times. Okay, so this would give me eligible cities, and I'm dropping non-eligible cities. Okay, dropping non-eligible cities, and finally I have the final filtered data. Okay, final filtered data, and just save it to. Finally, I'm gonna save it to dataset level3.pkl. Fine, perfect, looks good, right? So at the end, I'm gonna save it to dataset level3 pkl. Okay, dataset level3 pkl. All right. So now I think it looks good. Now after this, guys, we're gonna create a file which is feature extraction .pkl. Okay. Again, I'm telling you, I'm not running the code because of the reason that is it would actually become a very much load on my computer. That's why I'm not running it. Okay. But if you want to run it, you can directly install an extension that is Code Runner. Here we have an extension Code Runner. Okay. So you can just install this extension. After install this section, you'll get this icon. You can just run the code here, and then everything would work the exact way which I'm telling you. Okay, and this is the print statement. Every time you can print it, you can see for yourself. Okay, that's it, right? So now after this, we have feature extraction 3. So we are gonna work on it. Let me just check if we have anything. Who error? Hello. Okay, so in feature extraction 3, I'm gonna do a little bit of more kind of operations. Actually, I'm just training my model here. Okay, I'm just training my model here. Okay, so for that, I needed this. Okay, I needed sklearn, I needed numpy and pandas. Okay, and Pickle, right? So I'm just saying that first of all, load my dataset level 3. Okay, progress which I have saved, all of the part which I have done, I've saved it to dataset level 3. All the filtering and all the things is finally saved to dataset level3.pkl. Why are we, by the way, using PKL? Okay, why aren't we, since this is a machine learning project, okay, why aren't we saving it in any other format? Okay, because this project is a machine learning project, not a deep learning project. Okay, so .pkl is very good for machine learning projects. Okay, that's why we are saving things in PKL, and we're gonna save our model also in PKL format. Okay, so now guys, what we're gonna do is we are gonna get x-axis. Okay, so batting team, bowling team, cities, score, etc. Okay, and y would be the result. Okay, so it's like this would be the kind of input, and this would be the output. I'm gonna send this model. Okay, I'll send these things to my model. Bro, this is the input, and this must be the output. So my model would learn it. Again input, again output, again input, again output. So I'm just teaching my model. Okay, I'm just teaching the my model. For this input, this must be the output. Okay, for this situation, these were the final run scored. Okay, yes, this is what I mean. Okay, so for like again, I am getting wickets lost. Okay, and I'm also getting overs done. Okay, and I am dropping this column. I don't need this right now. Okay, and then after this, I'm splitting my data set. Okay, so x train, x test, y train, y test. Okay, so some inputs would be training, some inputs would be for testing later. Similarly, some inputs for some outputs for training, some outputs for testing. Okay, so I'm just splitting it. Okay, I'm just splitting it. Okay, and I'm just randomly splitting it. Okay, that's it. Now, this size is also up to you. You can just increase it or decrease it, but 0.2 is an ideal test size. The remaining one would be the training size. Okay, that's why 0.2 I have chosen. Okay, now after that, I am just gonna say like I'm gonna scale my data. Okay, I'm gonna scale my data. Okay, so batting team, bowling team, city, and then in numbers, I'm gonna say current score, overs done, wickets lost, and last five. Okay, if you don't know much about machine learning, you can just search about it. Then you'll understand it. Right now, my main goal is to train a model. Okay, so after this, I'm gonna also use regressor. Okay. So again, here I'm just specifying what would be my learning ratio and what would be the max depth and then random state and an estimator. So these are the default parameters we generally give to HGB regressor. Okay. And then I'm gonna create a pipeline again for this model. I'm going to create a pipeline. This would be a preprocessor and the model. So I have both of these. Okay, I've joined both of these, my preprocessor and my model. Okay, so I'm going to fit it to my pipeline. I'm just training it, X train and Y train. Okay, so for this input, this output, similarly for all the inputs, for all the outputs. Okay, so I'm training my model. Okay, I'm training my model. Once my model would be trained, okay, once my model would be trained, that means the fit operation is performed. I'm gonna predict it. Okay, I'm gonna predict it. So model pipeline, I'm just predicting. Okay, how am I predicting? So I'm just saying that for the testing data, right now we have trained it. Okay, using trained data. Now if I provided the test data, I am scoring. I'm keeping my results. Okay, I'm keeping my results, and I'm keeping my results, and I'm gonna compare it with what? For this test data, what must be the output? This must be the output, right? So for test data, whatever output we are storing, I'm going to compare this y predict with y test to get the accuracy. Okay, if y predict is exactly same as y test, that means my model is 100% accurate. If y predict 50% of the times is same as y test, that means my model is 50% accurate, like that. Okay, so definitely it won't be very much accurate because things are in decimal format, but yeah, you can eliminate decimal values also to make your model more accurate and to round off more values, so it would make more accuracy. Okay, but in our case we have trained our model. Okay, we have trained our model, and finally I'm gonna store the R2 score and MAE score, mean absolute error score. Okay, so this basically gives you the prediction score. Okay, like how many times your model is correct. Okay, how many times your model is correct. Okay, so it's like the score, the final score for this situation must be 200. Okay, your model is giving 190 or 198, so it's almost there but not 100% correct. Okay, so that is the case. Okay, so it would give me correction format. Okay, even if your actual score is 200 and this model is giving 199, that would also give it accuracy score different. Okay, it would give 50% accurate, but you can see that it's almost same. 199 and 200 is almost same, but the model would give you the accuracy score of 50%. So don't worry about 50%, just see, okay, yeah, it's almost accurate in this case. Okay, so this would finally give me the score. Okay, and I am gonna store my model. Okay, I'm gonna finally store my model in cricket score predictor.pkl. Okay, I'm just storing my model in cricket score predictor.pk, that is here. Okay, so yeah, my model would be stored here, and now after this I'm gonna simply test my model. Okay, so test model dot py. Okay, so I'm gonna test my model here. I'll just do one thing. I'll just copy the exact same things in test model.py. Okay, so here what I'm saying is I'm just training my model. Okay, so to just run this file, you'll run this file, and finally your model would be trained and stored here, cricket score predictor.pkl. So this is your model. Okay, this is your model, and once we are about to end the live session, I might also show you this. Right now if I run this, it might hang my PC, it might slow my PC, that's why I'm not running it. But yeah, finally after running this file, okay, I explain you each line, okay, overly. And after running this file, my model would be saved in cricket score predictor file. Okay, that's it. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna load my model. Okay, I'm just gonna load my model. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna say that here I'm just gonna load my model. Okay, I'm just gonna load my model, and I'm gonna give this sample input. Okay, to get an output. So I'm gonna give this sample input. How many? Who is the batting team? Who's the bowling team? What's the city? What's the current score? Overs done, wickets lost, and last five. I'm giving this as an input. Okay, and I am gonna predict, call the predict method to get an output, to get the predicted score, and I'm gonna print it. Okay, so finally once your model is created, once your model is trained, you can run this file to test your model. Okay, so if I run this, let me just check, and it's trying to run. Here you can see that I'm actually directly running it from quick score file. Let me just do one thing. I'll just go inside model and open an integrated terminal, and this would actually help me run the file. Okay, so test model.py. So you can see that I got the predicted score of 311.5895. So if the actual score was 311.600, even in that case, it would say your model is not 100% accurate. But you can see that, yeah, it would give you a very good score. Okay, so this is the predicted score of this match. Okay, according to this model. Okay, according to the training of this model. So you can run these files individually. Feature extraction 1, 2, and 3. It's a very big code, but yeah, this would finally help you run the model. Okay, and once your model is created, we are just calling our model and we are just passing our sample test case and we are getting the predicted score. Okay, so now till now everything is fine. Our model has been created. Okay, our model has been created. It successfully runs. Now, guys, what we are going to do is we are going to run our backend. Okay, we are going to create our backend. Okay, so let's go to the backend file. Okay, let's go to the backend file, and here, guys, I'm gonna create a file named as main.py. Okay, so it's not inside model, it's inside main.py. Okay, so now in main.py we are gonna import FastAPI. Okay, pickle, pandas, and pandas. Okay, right, and I am basically going to import I'm basically going to import my model. Okay, so my model is actually inside this one, cricket score predictor.pkl. So actually I can write it this way, right? I can write it this way. All right. And then I'm gonna create an instance of Fast API. I'm gonna add course policy to my backend. I can run my backend from anywhere. Any content can access my backend. And then, guys, I'm gonna create a class. Okay, create a class. In this format, I'm gonna give my input. Okay, this is the Python class. In this format, I'm gonna give my input. Okay, so this class is for just creating a format. If the spelling, there is spelling mistake or the value is different, it's an integer, we want a string, then it would throw an error. Okay, so this class is very important to actually finally process it, send it to our model. Before sending things to our model, first of all, the things must be satisfied here. The format must be exactly the same, matching. Okay. Now after this, I'm gonna create an API. We are gonna say predict, and then I'm gonna say predict score. So I'm just gonna create a function. If I call this API, I'm gonna create a function predict underscore score. Okay, predict underscore score, and request. So I'm just saying that the class must first of all verify the input format, whatever I'm taking from this API. First of all, verify that. Once it's verified, I'm just gonna say input underscore data equals pd dot data frame. So I'm just converting it into a row. Okay, and request dot dictionary. Okay, so dictionary. Okay, so according to the order it would be sorted. Okay, then predict score equals from my model. i'm gonna predict I'm gonna predict, and to this model I'm gonna provide my input data. Okay, and I'm gonna get my output. Okay, once I get my output, I'm gonna return this. I'm gonna return this. So I'm gonna say predicted underscore final underscore score. Okay, and here I'm gonna provide a round predicted score. Okay, predicted score. That's it. Okay, so this is it. So at the end, I'm gonna share it to my front end. I'm gonna share my predicted score to the front end. Okay, so one more thing, I'll create a normal get API also to just test the model. So if I just load, if I just load the backend, this get API would just start my backend and just show me a message. Okay, so for that, I'm gonna say def home. Okay, so home function. Okay, and here, guys, what I can do is I can just return message. What message? I'm gonna say cricket score prediction API is running. Okay, so now my model is straight and my backend is also created. Let me just run this backend. So to run this backend, you must have UV Okay, your UV1 must be installed. Once UV1 is installed, it would actually allow me to run the code. So please install UV1, pip install UV1, and then you just need to write UV I'm sorry. Okay. Then the backend folder, we have main.py. So we need to run the main.py. So we're just gonna say UV main app. Okay, since it's main.py. Okay, and then reload. Okay, auto reload. So let's see. Okay, I think it's fine and there is no issue. So in this port, my code is running. Okay, my backend is running, and you can see it's perfect. Okay, so now what I need to do is we need to simply call this backend API, predict API into our front end. Okay, so this is our front end. Okay, so I'm just gonna open my front end. Okay, and I'm gonna call white to create a simple React.js application. So all that I'm gonna npm I create npm create white or wheat, whatever you call it, latest. I'm gonna call it my cricket score. Okay, my cricket score, and whatever is the default template, just get it. And it's asking me, I want React, simple JavaScript. Now you can see that we have a front end. Okay, we have a front end. So I'm gonna open my front end in integrated terminal, and I'm gonna type npm install. Okay. Now guys, in my front end, I'm gonna create a folder named as components. Okay. In my front end, I'm gonna create my folder named as components. So components. Okay. So you can see my front end is created. What I'm gonna do is I am gonna simply close things. Okay. And I'm gonna open my front end and back end separately. Okay. So here guys, what we'll do is we'll go here and then click score. This is my backend. So I'm gonna open up my backend, right? This was my backend, right? Right? This was my backend. I'm gonna open up my backend. Give it one main app. Okay, here. And I'm gonna open up my front end separately. So this is my front end. I'm gonna open it here, right? So this is my front end. I'm just gonna give it blue so that I can recognize this. Okay, so this is my front end. Now here in the components, we are gonna create a component file named as what? We're gonna call it wicket for predictor.jsx. Okay, and here I'm gonna write a shortcut RAFC to create this shortcut. Okay, now after this I'm gonna create a CSS file also. So dot CSS. Okay, so in components we have CSS file also. Now here guys, what we're gonna do is we are gonna say that import this CSS file. I'm also going to store my themes. Okay, so these would be the themes. This is the exact things from my backend. In the backend also I mentioned this variable, right? This array of themes, right? And I've just copied it from there. Okay, so now I have this. I'm just gonna say that create a form data const form data and set form data equals use state. Okay, and here we are gonna have the format. Okay, we are gonna have the format. So it's the exact same format. We have to write the things in exact same format: starting theme, boolean theme, city score, and so on. And here I've given them default values. If you don't want to give them, don't give them. But I've given them default values so that it's easy. Okay, so that I don't need to write things again and again. Okay, now after this, I am just saying that I'll get the prediction output. So prediction set prediction use state, and I'll just give it null. Okay, null prediction. Alright. So yeah, this would give me the prediction score. Okay. Finally, whenever I call from the API, the prediction score would be stored here. Okay. So let's first of all create a container. Okay. So I'll just give it a class name of container. Alright. And here guys, we are gonna give it a heading, cricket score container, okay, cricket score predictor, right? And let me just open this. Okay, so you can see this is the component. We're gonna call this component here in app.js. So wicket score predictor, I'm just calling it. Okay, we don't need this, and I'm gonna remove the default css. Okay, I'll just remove the default css. Okay, don't worry guys, I'm gonna share you the complete source code, so just chill out for a while. Okay, so I just go to terminal. All right, and in this terminal I'm gonna say npm run dev, npm run dev. So now I'm running my front end, npm run dev. Okay, so yes, you can see that it's running in this port. You can see that get score predictor. Okay, fine. So this component has been loaded. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we are gonna say that whenever I want to submit, I would simply call a function handle submit. Okay, this function would be called, and I would send this data to my API. Okay, so this function would be called. Okay, right now it's empty, we're gonna complete it. So I'm gonna say that I have a form. Okay, whenever I submit this form, that function would be called, and the submit would be called. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, now inside this we simply gonna say that we have a label. Okay, we have a label. So inside this we're gonna say we have a label, and let's close this label. Okay, close this label. Okay, select batting team. Let's see. So you can see that right now we have select batting team. Now here what we are gonna do is we're gonna say that we have select. Okay, whatever value I'm gonna select here. Okay, first of all I'm gonna pass it to which type. I'm gonna pass it to batting team. Okay, so I'm gonna name it, exactly give the same name, batting team. Okay, then what would be the value? So what would be the value? So I'm gonna get the value from this form data only. So form data dot batting team, right? So I'll get the value. Okay, and whenever I change the value, so on change and change. Okay, so handle change function would also be called just like this. Okay, so const handle change equals and close. Okay, that's it. Handle change. Okay, easy, right? So yes, inside this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say that team dot map. Okay, teams dot map, and here I'm gonna say team. Okay, and here I'm gonna say option, and in this I'm gonna provide team. So it would get all the teams from the option, all the teams from the option. Okay, so all the options would be set, and the value would also be team. Okay, so that whenever I select any option, it would be passed to my select, and finally to handle change. Okay, finally to handle change, and also I'm gonna give it key also. So key would also be team name, whatever is the team name. Okay, I think now it looks fine, and also I'm gonna give it a class name of input. Okay, so let's see how it looks. So now you can see here by default India is selected, and I have all the teams. So if I click on England, this doesn't change. Why it doesn't change? Because the value here is still the same. So to change the value, I'm gonna call this function. Okay, so I'm gonna complete this function later. But yeah, okay. So similarly, we have the bowling team. Okay, so we have the bowling team. So for the bowling team again, it's a cricket team, right? So exactly same. Okay, exactly same for the bowling team. Again, the exact same options, but it would be passed to the bowling team field. Okay, bowling team field. Let's see how it looks. So you can see bowling team is also here, right? Now after this, we are gonna talk about city. So we're gonna enter city. Okay, so again, a label for city. So again, a label for city, right? And close it. Now here we are gonna have an input field. Type of that would be text. Name would be city. Value would be form data dot city. Okay, and on change, again I'm gonna call handle change. Okay, so whatever city I write, and class name would be input. Okay, let's close it. Okay, so now I have the city field also. Okay, so whatever I'm gonna change, it would be changed. Right now it's not changing because we haven't completed the handle change function. We'll do that. Okay, don't worry. Now similarly guys, just like city, Okay, just like city, just always check the name. Okay, it's city. Yes, it's city. Similarly, guys, we have current score. Okay, we have current score. So just name is current score, and the value would be passed to current score, and handle change would be called. Okay. Similarly, I am gonna store overs done. Okay. Similarly, I'm gonna store overs done. Okay. Similarly, guys, I'm gonna store wickets left, runs scored in last 5 overs. Okay, so all the data has been stored in the exact format, input format. Okay, and finally, guys, we have a button. Yes, so we have a button, and then the type of this button is submit. And here I'm gonna say predict score. Okay, predict score, and the last name would be button. Okay, now once I get the prediction, okay, once I get the prediction, I'm gonna say that prediction, if it's not null, suppose I send the submit button, I click the submit button, and this API is called, whatever API I write here is called, and it would give me a prediction score, which I'm gonna store here. Okay, once prediction score is stored here, that means the value would be null. So I'm gonna say if it's not null, then in this division, in this division, give it a class name of prediction box. Okay, then h2 and class name of prediction text. Okay, predictor final score prediction. Okay, that's it. So whenever I get the predicted score, I'm gonna show it. Okay, so don't worry about this. You'll understand this when we call the API. But once I get the prediction score, I'm gonna show that score here. Okay, so let's first of all complete this handle change. Okay, complete this handle change. So I'm gonna say that whatever value I have, let's make this function asynchronous and also this asynchronous. Whatever value I get, okay, whatever value I get would be passed to my form data. So set form data, and I'm gonna say keep the rest part of form data as it is. Okay, so from E, extract the name in which field you are changing the things. Okay, extract the name and also extract the value e dot target dot value. Extract the value also. Okay, so key value pairs would be extracted and modified. Okay, so now let's check. So if I just refresh, and now if I select New Zealand, yeah, you can see I'm able to select other team. I'm able to select this. I'm able to change this. I'm able to change this. Able to change this. Able to change this. And able to change this. Okay. Now I need to call the predict score. Okay. Now I need to call the predict score. Okay. So let's go here and call the predict score. So again, I'm gonna say e.prevent.default, e.prevent default, e.prevent default. So it would just not erase everything from my form. Okay, once I click on submit, so that's why it's used. And here in try, we're gonna call our API, and in catch, we're gonna call the error. So error, okay, right? So in this, I'm gonna show my error. Console.log and error predicting score. Okay, error predicting score, and here we're gonna get the error. Okay, get the error. Now, guys, here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call the API. So response equals await, and I need to install Axios in my frontend. So I'm gonna say Axios. Okay, so I'm installing Axios, and then I'm gonna say Axios. Okay, Axios dot post request. Okay, dot post request. Which API I want to call? Okay, so my backend. Let's call my backend. So my backend is running here, right? My backend is running here. So I'm gonna copy this and paste it here. HTTP colon slash slash 127.0.1.8004. Okay, and in this I'm gonna call the predict API, right? I'm gonna call the predict API, and I'm gonna send the form data. That's it. Okay, I'm gonna send the form data, and once I send the form data from the response, I need to extract the response. So I'm just gonna say response dot data dot prediction final score. this this is the response, right? So this is the data, this is the data. From this I need to extract it. Okay, so response dot data dot prediction final score. Okay, that's it. So I'm just setting my final score, right? So let's try this now. Let's try this now. So if I run this, let me refresh. Okay, India Pakistan current score is suppose um 150. Suppose overs done are 25, wickets lost are 2, scored in last 5 overs, suppose 30 runs, and predict score. So let's check if there is any issue. No, there is no issue. If I inspect here and check this, Axios is not defined. Okay, actually I have to import Axios, right? So I haven't imported Axios um, in my front end. I need to import Axios. So control space and Axios. Alright, let's see. So now again I'm gonna say suppose score is 150 and yes, predict score and failed to construct URL, invalid URL. Okay, so I think there is a problem with the URL. What's the problem with the URL? Failed to construct the URL. Okay, okay, let's try again. So you can see that I got the final score. Okay, so this score is actually coming from my backend. Okay, coming from my backend. So if you wanna see that this is my backend, you can see this predict API is called. This predict API would get the data. Okay, from the front end, it got the data whatever we passed, and then it's gonna call my model to predict things. Okay, my model is where? My model is this one. Okay, we trained the model. Okay, and we finally send it as a response to my front end. Okay, so we connected our front end, back end, and our model so seamlessly, okay, so easily. So this is going to be very one of the finest projects which you would see as a beginner and as an intermediate person who wants to connect web development with machine learning. Okay, so this is something you need and you're gonna use it every time. Okay, so yeah, this is it. Now after this, our model is complete, our backend is complete, our front end just needs some styling. So let's complete the styling and then we can wrap up this video. Okay, so the styling is pretty easy. There isn't much in the styling part. So yeah, let's talk about the container. So for container I've given max width of 600 and then some box shadow and some style like this. Okay, now it's in center. Now for the title and for the form, I'm giving the size. Okay, then for the form, I want things in column. For the label and input and select tags, okay, I'm just saying that this will be the styles. Okay, so you can see now the styling looks like this. Now let's talk about the button. Okay, so for the button and button over, this would be the styles. So this would be the styles. Okay, then for the prediction box and prediction text, I'm gonna keep the styles. Okay, that's it. So guys, I'm gonna provide you the source code, don't worry. And here you would see that, yeah, this is how you would see the final predicted score. Suppose the team was different, New Zealand. Now let's try this so you can see the score change. Okay, suppose the team was South Africa. Now let's test this so you can see score change. Okay, suppose the location is something else. Let's pick a location, Mumbai. I think so it would take the location. You can see, yeah, 300. Okay, so yeah, this is it. The score would be different and it would be according to our model, right? So I hope you understood how we are actually doing things. This is the front end in React.js. Our backend is built using FastAPI. This is our backend in FastAPI, and our model is trained using machine learning. Okay, we used machine learning for training our model. Okay, our model is stored here. Okay, we are calling our model into our backend. You can see this is our model, we called it, and then from front end we are taking parameters, sending it as input to our model, and predicting the score and sending it back to the front end. Okay, so backend has this job, right? So guys, this is the project which we created. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I'm gonna upload the complete source code. I'll share you the repository link in the description once we end this video, because definitely the uploading might take time because of the model and things. Let me just share you my GitHub repository profile repository. So here guys, this is my GitHub repository. You can just go to github.com/VIRAWJ014. Okay, in this GitHub repository, you would find cricket score full stack. Okay, just go here, and inside this, the complete source code would be available, front end and back end. Okay, just search the name here. If you don't find this repo, just search the name here and you'll get the repo. And also in the description of this video or in the comment section, I'll provide the repository link once we end this session, right? So that's it for today. I will see you in the next one. Till then, see you, have a good day. Bye bye.